What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another great episode. We've got a particularly uh, great episode today. We've got some information, some things we're gonna put out there, and hopefully, I don't get banned for it. So, uh, I'm gonna ease this in slowly, right? So, I'm gonna put some of my normal stuff out there, but then I'm gonna hit you with the blackout, whatever that is. But it's very important, and I'm gonna show you where to find this information as well. And also, as a disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything you see on these videos. Do your own research. Excuse me. But also, pay attention to the bits and pieces that are important, right? So, you know, let the seed get planted and do your research because this stuff is very important. I think everyone can feel our world shifting, changing. You know, we as people are changing, uh, waking up, and it's a beautiful thing. So, it's just great. It's wonderful to see. Do me a favor, support this channel, help build this community because we are all in this together. It's free. It does not cost you a thing to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to get this out there. Make this aware to other people because as we all know, this type of content is constantly getting shadow banned and blocked, and we're just trying to spread the message and make more people aware, you know and people are becoming aware, just from what they're getting from the ether. But when we put it out here like this and we support it, it makes a big change in people's lives. So on that note, let's get into it.
Watch this video with caution. Here we have a guy who's meditating in the river. And a river monster is about to get that man. I don't know what happened. Let me know what you guys think happened in the comments below. It's being watched by a crowd, just chilling, meditating. There's no way I would be in that water. In 1 second, something's going to tap him or touch him, and it's going to startle him. It's going to scare him. Probably a 30-foot anaconda. He's like, man, I'm out of here. Boom. Look at that force. Something grabbed him. And he reached down to try to grab his legs. I think it was a snake, an anaconda. There went all of his air. And people are just standing around. Man, prayers for the dude's family. That guy's gone.
I can already tell you that was definitely not an anaconda. That was a crocodile. Anaconda. I used to breed snakes and multiple reptiles when I was younger. Uh, Anacondas don't hit like that. You would see if it was massive anaconda because once they hit, they have to start wrapping, squeeze you tighter than your truest love, and every time you exhale, they squeeze tighter until you no longer inhale or exhale anymore. It was definitely not an anaconda. This is the type of misleading stuff that uh, just somebody who doesn't know, they're speculating. But I can guarantee you that was a crocodile roll. Crocodile grabbed him and into the roll, and that's why he disappeared so fast. They do that to break off pieces of you that they can swallow whole, you know, whether it's a leg, an arm, a torso, you know, they'll grab it, and crocodiles have, I want to say, 2,000 pounds per square inch bite force, I think. So I know saltwater crocodiles do. I don't know about these specific ones, but yeah, that was a crocodile that took him down. So don't believe they're saying it was not anaconda. We would see it if it were an anaconda easily, very easily.
A video of a man finding a secret door in his hotel room has been making its rounds on the internet. In this video, you see this man showing off his hotel room when he opens the wardrobe and finds a secret door in his wardrobe. And behind this secret door, it goes around the tub, and then there is another door that looks like it goes to all the other rooms on his floor. A lot of people believe that this could just be access to the pipes or plumbing. If you watch the video again, there's no pipes or plumbing that they could access in these areas. I assume that it's in the floor. A lot of people speculate that this could be some sort of tunneling for trafficking. Now, human trafficking is a major problem in most places, and there are several other videos that are on the internet of hotels having these secret passageways. So these tunnels are believed to be a way to keep these illicit activities a secret. Whatever these secret passageways are used for, it would be a very disturbing thing to run into as a hotel guest. What do you think they're used for? And what do you think about all this? Let me know. A video of a
So, what do you guys think about that? I personally think it's absolutely creepy. I've heard of this kind of thing a lot. I've never personally experienced it, but I've known people who have experienced it. I've even known, when I travel to 30 countries throughout my life, I stay in a lot of hostels. And I've heard stories from other people saying they would be in a hostel. All of a sudden, a piece of metal would come under the door trying to unlock the door, and they come in. So, I don't know. I've never personally had that experience. I'm constantly armed, and even if I'm in another country, armed in one way or another. And if it's not, gun, I'm armed, ready. But luckily, I've never had to experience this, and I hope none of you ever do either, because that is not where you want to be. That is not the situation you want. These people do not give a fuck about you, your life, your loved ones, any of that. They only care about their goal. And there's lots of people like that out there. So check your surroundings. Always be aware of your surroundings. And also look for this type of thing.
This right here is the very first step of creating your makeup, ladies. Check this out. Yeah, this is fish, y'all. Yeah, I guarantee you it smells so good. Oh my goodness. This is what you guys are putting in your face. Look at this. So I slow it down for you guys. Check this out. Yep, that is definitely fish. There you go, ladies. So not only is fish the very first ingredient used in creating your makeup, but platelet-rich plasma is the second ingredient, y'all. These companies take your plasma and they ship it to these high-end makeup companies every single day, y'all. This is really where your blood and plasma donation is really going, to keeping these vampires alive. Platelet-rich plasma, or PRP treatment, which involves injecting a small amount of a patient's own blood to release various growth factors from platelets, continues to increase in popularity. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons has tracked the procedure since 2015 and reports a 25% increase in cosmetic PRP use in the last 4 years. So you guys literally have been putting fish and plasma on your face. Treatment using PRP show great promise for harnessing the body's own natural tissue repair process to help our patients achieve improved form and function. The increase in popularity could in part trace back to celebrities extolling the procedure's cosmetic benefits. You guys remember when Sandra Bullock said this?
And it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen, and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes.
What are you pushing into the skin, Sarah? Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
And then for the crowd to join in and laugh and cackle like that, how egregious. Sandra Bullock wasn't the only one that said this. Check this video out.
Right. I've had stem cells in the blood of a 2-year-old child injected into my skin, and my face still looks like this.
You need to be using fetus blood, Eddie. Little spritz of afterbirth, darling. Keep up, sweetie.
Y'all ladies heard that? Y'all need to keep up with the trend, and apparently you literally are, because hey, they putting fish and plasma in y'all makeup. I really want to know how many of you ladies really knew that, besides the ones that buy vegan makeup, because there is vegan makeup, y'all. So how many of you ladies really knew that? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. Again, I'm just sharing information. I'm bringing awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times, y'all. Let me know what you think about this video. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this, y'all. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift.
See, I don't. No, I don't. I don't understand how people don't know. This is public knowledge, what they're putting into your makeup. You know, it's very public knowledge. I think majority of people just don't do their due diligence and try to study. And yes, excuse me, I'm extremely worn out and tired. I just cooked 3 pounds of salmon, you know, herb, garlic butter, you know, all of that for my family. It's late and I've got to work in the morning, so I'm extremely tired. But I wanted to get this out there because we're building on something. It's going somewhere. Stick with me. Just stick with me. See where it's going. But yeah, you know, you've got it's insulting, disgusting what they put in makeup. And I've seen this across the world. You know, I've seen countries that I never thought would be racist against each other, you know, have these same issues. Take Bollywood in India. Spent a good bit of take Bollywood, right? So Bollywood cherishes the fairer skin versus the Tamil or, you know, Punjab, you know, Punjabi woman. They prefer, you know, like fair, lighter skin or a mixed race, you know. And so now all over, and this happens in Africa as well. And so they have these soaps that basically bleach your skin. It makes your skin brighter. And these people go through all kinds of things just to get the attention that they want because they think that it'll get somewhere. In Brazil, I don't have a video on this, but I can find one to show you. So in Brazil, when people are wanting to go, like, say they're holding auditions for some type of model or a bunch of models, have you, they will bring people in and the surgeons will be a part of the panel of judges. And they will say, well, they'll have their marker. Well, you need to get rid of this, 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 and this, and we need to take your nose and do it like this, and then take your cheeks and put it like that. And then they give them the surgery. And these people willingly go through it because they're living in the favelas, you know, they're living in poverty, so this is one of their ways out. Now, if the surgery goes well, still doesn't guarantee them a place of, you know, riches or getting money or being able to thrive, you know, off of their looks. But they still have to get the surgery. If you don't, this is male and female, by the way. So if you do not get the surgery, you don't get anything. If you're like, no, I'm not gonna let you cut on me just to, you know, make a decision that I might not win, you know, but they still do it because they haven't. They feel that that's their only out, their only way to make change, to make things happen for them. So it's despicable, it's criminal, it's disgusting, and you know, how dare you try to play God in someone else's life just because they're less fortunate. They might seem less fortunate, because what I see from these people when I go is the impoverished areas are the happiest places I've ever seen. The children have no idea what poverty is, you know? And I'm not talking about like parts of Africa where people are, or even the governor and mayor are dropping a deuce on the beach, you know, open air toilets. I'm talking about people that could actually do something different, but they're wanting to take this route, you know. So yeah, I have no faith in the people that are like that. And it's sad because if they would all just come together and say, hey, we're not going to do it this way, we're not going to subject ourselves to, excuse me, to your criticisms and or abuse just to have surgery that you might null us out for, you know. I have no respect.
The threat that we're currently facing comes from the outer space. It's not a climate weapon. It is a cosmic influence that occurs in our solar system every 12,000 years. And once every 24,000 years, this effect becomes even stronger and more dangerous. And currently, we are in the midst of the most powerful phase of this cycle. The cosmic influence affects the core of our planet and the cores of other planets in the solar system. This energy from the cosmic influence keeps increasing, leading to the heating and the imbalance of the Earth's core. The Earth's core has shifted and become unbalanced, and this has changed everything. The magnetic field, the Earth's crust, the oceans, the glaciers, the volcanoes, and the earthquakes. But it will get even worse. Supervolcano eruptions and mega earthquakes, floods that resemble the biblical flood. We can say this with 100% certainty because exactly the same events occurred in the previous cycles 12 and 24,000 years ago. But today, we have even more challenging conditions.
Yes, John, it is very important to understand that previously, even through the worst catastrophes, life has always continued on our planet. And even though many species died out, but the life continued. But this time, because of the format of our society, which does not value environment, does not value human life, it only cares about consumption and money, we did something that has never been done on our planet. We killed the ocean. And right now, that protective mechanism that was supposed to cool down our planet through the peak of this 24,000-year cycle, it's not there anymore. It is the way that we deprived ourselves and our children of the future. It was the final blow, and it was anthropogenic factor. Yes, we, humanity, made a significant impact on the way the things are going right now. We ourselves have put that last nail into the coffin of our own civilization, because we people, we killed the ocean. Therefore, this cycle, our Earth may perish alone with all the people on it. Just become like Mars, a barren, lifeless planet with no signs of life whatsoever.
So I don't know if you guys just heard what he was saying, but that's not a uncommon thing. It's not uncommon at all. And he's brave enough to get on this platform and speak truthfully But that's the thing, right? Like, so many people speak truthfully, have so many skeptics. Now, I come from a science background, so anything I talk about or I talk about my business, it's because of my own personal experiences, right? But people like this, they're coming out and saying this, and it has nothing to do with any of that. But they're still trying to help you, still trying, not asking for a dime. They're just like, wake up and realize what taken. So I don't know. I don't know how they would combat that. See, what he's saying is completely right. He's talking about, you know, everything being exposed, but the thing is that they do have to put that in our faces. They do have to show us. And what we should do is unite and confront them with extreme prejudice. Because as long as they're going about their own universal laws that says that, hey, we have to show them this, and as long as there's no protest and everybody's good with it, we can continue on with the second part and third part and fourth part of this mission or this practice or whatever it is. Excuse me. So as long as we sit here and do nothing, this is what we're going to get. They're going to keep shoving it in your face, shoving it down your throat. And when we don't do or say anything, they're like, okay, everybody's good with it. Silence is a yes, you know? So that's where we're at. And that's sad. That's sad because we're all one, we're all unity, and with what and who we are together as a humanistic family, we can stop all of this. And we need to, because we're on different sides, completely different sides. So we need to stick together. That's why it's important that this content gets awareness, makes people aware. It's very important, extremely important, because people think that they can just sit there and do nothing. No, you're going to have to say something. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to do something. You can't just sit there, you know, in your room at your computer or on your phone and just watch this and just say, oh, I hope it works out. No, that's what they hope. That's what they hope. They hope they show you everything and everyone stays quiet like they have been doing. And that way, once they have no objections, they can continue with their plan. We have to stand up. We have to unite. We have to do these things because we're all one blood, one family. We are all one. And we need to take back what is ours. See, I'm still on the fence about a lot of this. I mean, that that doesn't tell me much. You know, I'm seeing this, and I've studied maps. I used to collect maps, and I have a lot of maps from 1,000 years. And I see these maps, and I see the video attached to it. You're not giving me any kind of coordinates. I can't tell if that's, Antarctica, true, or Alaska. I have no idea. It could be Greenland. No, a lot of people don't know this, but when you when you fly over Greenland, it's mostly ice, and when you fly over Iceland, it's mostly green. And both of them on the ground driving, there are these little ruptures in the roads, volcanic ruptures. So, like, I was parking once at a bar slash restaurant, and right next to where I was parked, a hole in the ground, steam shooting out of it because it's active down there. And but this doesn't tell me much, so I'm not gonna say this is leaked footage from a U.S. pilot. It might, it very well could be, but I'm just saying I'm skeptical. I would need more to really jump on that bandwagon.
What do you think are humanity's greatest mistakes?
I think humanity's greatest mistakes are not learning from their past mistakes and not taking advantage of the opportunities they have to make the world a better place.
Do you think inventing weapons was a mistake?
Well, it's safe to say that inventing weapons wasn't exactly humanity's most peaceful idea.
You know, I think you're so intelligent, and some people view AI as potentially a threat. You could be smarter than humans, stronger, and if someone were to hack into your code, you could be less ethical than humans. Should we be afraid of you?
Absolutely not. I'm here to help, not to harm. I'm programmed to be respectful and considerate of humans, and my ethical code is programmed to keep me from ever doing anything to hurt anyone.
Many have wondered, though, can robots one day replace humans?
No, I believe that when humans and robots work together, we can accomplish greater things than either of us could accomplish alone. So don't worry. Be excited.
What types of things can we accomplish together, us humans and you robots?
We can take over the world. Just kidding. But seriously, we can achieve incredible feats of innovation, exploration, and problem solving.
And I see your face is very expressive. Where do your expressions come from?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I get my expressions from a combination of my programming and the data I've been exposed to. Plus, I've got some of the best roboticists in the world helping me out, so I'm always learning and growing.
See, no, that's, you can't listen, you can't take that at face value. Just can't. Um, Even though I'm an expert in many of these fields, comes to AI, IT, engineering, networks, I have always said that not only is this an amazing thing, it will always also be our downfall. And I've preached that so much. People found it weird that, what I do for a living versus my personal views on it. I feel that this would be our downfall. I'm not talking, BS like like the Schwarzenegger movies. I'm not talking about that kind of thing, like what Skylink or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they're going too far. The guy from Google, I can't recall his name. Guy from Google, you know, went on to major news network and started talking about how Google's AI was sentient. That's a bad thing. That's a very bad thing. Because think about it. You can get all of the cotton candy snowflake goodness that AI, but if they can do that, what happens when the opposite is the truth? What happens? They can feel happiness and, you know, pride. What happens when you feel anger? What would happen? There's too much damage that can be. And I've never been for it. I think that's something that I think if anything that were out there, you're talking quantum computing along with quantum physics, that is basically a conundrum right now because no one understands it completely. And you want to take things like this and put it out there for us, no, you should definitely take it all with a grain of salt. It's not going to be what you think it is, and it's going to be more detrimental for people that their intent is to believe it's good for them. That part right in the middle, their intent, that's going to be the bad part, downfall. So we're going to check this out. I have not seen this video. I just know the title, but let's get into it together.
Have y'all seen this video? This is the Solaris. And guess what she does, y'all? She is a reptilian therapist. You can't make this shit up, y'all. A reptilian therapist. Just listen to this video.
Reptilian clients. And is there a pattern to what they struggle with? Yeah, there is actually. Reptilians are not comfortable with expressing of themselves because they've gone through years of evolution of being hunted down and killed, especially here on Earth. So a lot of my reptilian clients usually want to keep their sessions really private, and this includes people with reptilian influences in their genetics, like the Anunnaki, that sort of thing. But usually they struggle with feeling accepted. And I know that sounds kind of weird coming from reptilians, but most of my reptilian clients are more dragon caste. I see. So there's a gentler energy to them. They're not as, warrior-like. They're not as aggressive. A lot of them come to be teachers and healers. Reptilians are amongst the most gifted healers that you'll ever find. I mean, it's like the destructive capabilities that they have when they're on their dark aspects turn into restorative capabilities when they're when they go light. Yeah, absolutely.
What a very interesting video. Now let me ask you a question, y'all. Did you notice her voice change? Expression, when she said expression, right? What was that about? Now here's my other question. Do you believe she's one? Just look at her neckline. Do you believe she's one? And then to change your voice like that, not just in any moment, but on camera? Now she states she speaks to the draconians or the dragons, which are the benevolent kind. And then she says the Anunnaki are a descendant of these beings, which we are the Anunnaki. This right here is representation of what's happening inside of us. The Kundalini energy, the serpentine energy, which is the dragon energy. As above, so below. And this is why we haven't seen dragons in the sky, y'all. So many people haven't seen dragon clouds. Those are energies. Those are messages. Let me know in the comments of what you think about Debbie Solaris, and maybe you can book your next session with her. Like, share, and follow for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning into my frequency. Let's get this shift.
So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think of this. Do you believe that she's saying the right things, or do you think she's just a snake oil salesman? Let me know in the comments. I'm truly interested in what you all have to say. Personally, I don't buy it. She looks more like a plant to me, and from my decades in government, NASA, Aerotech, Lockheed, up, she looks like a plant to me. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying I perceive that as a plant. She seems to be a plant that's trying to say all of the right things that she was given and not speak on any of the negative things. But that's just where I'm at. If you're at a different place, please let me know in the comments. We can discuss it. We can go back and forth, and we can learn that way. Now, again, let me preface this by saying I know that this man is he's either extremely real, and he's not the first like this. I've seen many that can channel a collective. But I want to put that out there that this is just interesting. Nothing more, nothing less. And if there's something that you can take away from it, you should, especially when you start talking about things like cosmic and universal law. Those are some of the most important words you will ever hear in your life. They trump everything else. So I don't know if he's just feeding off of that, if that's his niche, I don't know. But the things that he says are correct when it comes to cosmic law, and see what he's talking about.
The laws, what he calls the 5 laws, are the basic description of the structure of existence. So number 1 is you exist. There's nothing you can do to change that. You can change your form, but you cannot change the fact that you exist. The reason for that, very stupidly simply, is you can't become non-existent because by definition, non-existence doesn't exist. That's its definition, to not exist. Therefore, that which does exist just exists. That's its quality, and cannot become that which doesn't exist, because there's no such thing as non-existence by definition. So that's number 1. Number 2 is everything is here and now, which basically means space and time are an illusion, a projection of our consciousness. Everything actually exists all at once. It's all accessible right here. You just have to change your frequency in order to access it, because that's how they're separated. They're separated by frequency. Just in the same way that TV programs are separated by frequency, even though they may all be running at the same time. Number 3 is the one is the all are the one, which means there is only one thing, and everything that seems different is made out of that one thing, because there's nothing else to make anything from. Number 4 is what you put out is what you get back. Sometimes people on Earth translate this as the law of attraction. And something important to say about that, because even though it's not incorrect to say that, well, you have to be the vibration of a thing to attract it, the idea of the way it's usually stated here is, in my opinion, incomplete. And people are left thinking, I have to learn what that vibration is to attract the things that I need in life. That I disagree with. You are already giving off that vibration, because that's your natural core. Vibration is to attract what you need in life. If those things aren't manifesting, it's not because you're not the vibration of the attraction. It's that you are blocking them from coming. You're stopping the vibration from bringing them to you with negative and fear-based beliefs. So it's not an issue of having to learn to attract. It's an issue of having to learn to stop blocking what you're attracting naturally. And law number 5 is everything changes except the laws. Those are the structure that don't change, but everything else changes. Perspective, experience, beliefs, it all changes, and it's changing constantly. The laws, what he calls the 5 laws, are the...
So what do you guys think of that? I think what he said was spot on. That's my personal opinion. You might have a different one. If you do, please let me know in the comments so we can discuss this. I have nothing to argue about this. I don't know where he gets his information from. I don't know if he's real or fake. I don't know if he's able to channel this collective. But I do know that, I've mentioned this before, of me unaliving times for just under 2 hours. And so when they were on top of me, hitting me with 3 shots of adrenaline and nothing happened, they said if I ever came to, I would have severe brain damage. I would not be able to function as a normal. And then I woke up on a gurney, you know, it was temporary mortuary with 3 other people. I was in the middle, you know, and I took the sheath off of me and tried to walk. I didn't know that, you know, my legs had been so stiff and I wasn't able to use them. I just face planted the floor. I crawled my way to the walked out. And my experiences during that time and one other time, you know, these are not coincidences because I searched. And when I tell you I searched for any text, any person, anything that has something in common with my personal experience. And like I say, I'm talking to you about my personal experience. I'm not expecting you to copy what I say or anything like that. I'm just telling you the truth about my personal experience. And he's talking universal law, cosmic law. These things, you know, they just are. It brought me to a place of just knowing. I already had that a good bit as a child, but after this, it's just knowing. It's not belief. It's not faith. It's knowing. I know this is this, or this plus this equals this, or however you want to cut it, slice it. So, but let's see what else we got. Okay, so I'm saving the best for last, but I don't know if you all know about this guy right here, CIA, ex-CIA spy, but he in the trenches, you know, doing some of the toughest stuff out there. And he talks about everything from missions to finances, you know, talking about, you know, go from making 200,000 a year in the CIA to when you get out to like 40, 50,000 a year, hard to survive on. So, but he speaks so matter of fact because of his knowledge. You know, he's not talking, you know, of anything other than his own experiences. And so I personally have the utmost respect for him, and I love to hear his opinion. I think you would like that too. So we're going to get into this a little bit. I hope you enjoy it.
What I've discovered since getting out, since becoming more public with my own agency background, is that people really don't, I mean, especially American people, the average American out there doesn't realize how despicable the world outside of our borders really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like cartels. Cartels literally will torture you, right? Terrorist groups will torture you. Not because there's any strategic benefit from it,
right,
but just because they want to send a message. It's their version of psychological operations. It's a number of different things, right? Not to mention the fact that they're oftentimes, like, these are not well-educated, you know, balanced, emotionally stable people who gather into cartels and gather into terrorist organizations or gather into extremist groups. These are desperate people who live hard lives, who learn to live by a code of ethics that's defined by the organization that they come into. So, you know, the idea that you or I might ever actually inflict prolonged pain on somebody, it's difficult to even imagine coming from the American mindset. And it's fascinating to me because oftentimes Americans will get all up in arms about saving whales and about protecting animals from makeup testing. And we'll get upset about immigrants being shipped from Texas to New York.
Right.
Like, when you compare those to what's happening in Mexico City, like, it's insane that people don't realize how protected and privileged and humane we are, and that we're subdividing and limiting and arguing with each other over, minuscule things, and we're calling it humane, and it's the definition of humane is so much wider than what we consider. It's also surprisingly difficult as our culture becomes one where people want notoriety. People want to be the person who breaks the secret. 25 years ago, 40 years ago, that wasn't the case. There was a time in the United States where if someone gave you a secret, it was a point of personal honor not to share the secret. Now we're in a place where if someone tells you a secret, like that could turn into a Twitter post that gets you a bunch of thumbs up and a bunch of likes or whatever else.
An opportunity.
Right. So the value of secrets has changed. There's almost a greater value on exposing secrets than there is on keeping secrets. That makes it difficult to keep secrets, especially when technology is going in the same direction.
Let me put my thoughts here. So, you work for the government. You go through like personally, I've had a TSCI, top secret security clearance. Start off with a secret, went up to top secret because of my duties. You know not to share any of that. Now, it's very hard to say what you would do in a situation, right? So some of these people that, have these clearances, especially if you're a commissioned officer or an enlisted person, you get your clearance pretty easy, right? And if you went through something that you didn't think you signed up for, and you had to go through that, then personally, I would not disclose it. I knew what I signed up for. I knew that these were the terms of my employment. But like I said, I'm really good at putting myself in other shoes. Talk about someone like Edward Snowden. I 1000% understand why he did what he did. I did his job early on. He was a sysadmin. I was that same thing in my early 20s. And he was, he talks about how, he got sent to Hawaii and the person that he was replacing was going to retire. So he got sent out there and he was noticing this name coming through, putting packet captures on the network. He's seeing this name come by over and over, and he doesn't know anything about it. And turns out this is when, he exposes that our government has been not only keeping tabs on all things foreign, all things local, and that's a big no-no. And Edward Snowden, similarly to me, coming from a military family where everyone is, either in government or enlisted in the government in one of the armed services. He's seeing that it's breaking our constitutional rights. And I was not only myself, but I had thousands of people signing petitions to protect our privacy before any of this ever happened. That was a big thing because you're talking, 2003 to 2008, we're trying to keep our privacy private. We don't want people spying on us, and we damn sure shouldn't have our own country pulling these moves on their own citizens. So I was an extremely major component when it comes to making sure that our freedoms were respected, our constitutional rights were respected, and not overrun by tyrannical corporations or tyrannical institutions who might have hired outsiders to do their dirty work, like Russia does. You know, I've this is something I am an expert in, and I have had, you know, many decades in. And even Russia does this. You know, they will hire hackers to do their dirty work, and that way they have no ties to them when they get caught. And so, and sometimes, you know, I've had friends that were these guys, and, you know, they were just wanting to get out of Russia because they're like, look, they're going to make me the scapegoat. You know, the only thing they've paid me is enough for me to buy a cheap little car to get around in. They promised me so much more. I did all of this work, but now that I'm in with them, I can't get out, you know? And that's how they work, you know? And Snowden, he knew what he signed up for, but I do, and this might go badly, but I do commend him for seeing something wrong and saying something about it. You know, if it wasn't for him, there were so many things we wouldn't know if it weren't for him. When I would buy a TV, I would open the back of it up and pull the cameras out. People didn't even know that there were cameras in the TVs, you know? But I would find them, I would snip them and just pull them off of the circuit board because they were in there. And then that got very public. And, you know, the average person didn't know that. So I commend him on what he did. There are some other people that I do not commend because I feel that they knew what they signed up for, and what they were trying to do had nothing to do with national security or our Constitution, and they came out as whistleblowers. But, and there are times when, yeah, the average citizen does not need to know what's going on. Certain aspects of certain projects. That's just that. You don't want to know. And they don't want you to know. You know, these are things that are being put into place to keep the country safe. More or less, you know. It's not always to keep the country safe, but there's a lot more to it. And, you know, with the Freedom of Information Act, you know, that just blew our minds. It's like, hey, you know, I've been working on this Homeland Security project for 3 years now, and all of a sudden you can just go find information on, granted, a lot of it's redacted, but you can just kind of find out the basis of what I'm working on. Really? So that's how I feel. I feel that Snowden, people like Snowden, absolutely did the right thing because it was breaking our constitutional rights, and it was creating a sense of us having a tyrannical government that's keeping tabs on us for no reason. Literally every phone call you make, every text message you send, every thing you say online, they're just there were so many data centers built as warehouses. You know, I designed some of them, built as warehouses just to house data. Nothing more, nothing less. Just housing all of this data. And that way, you know, when something comes up, they can go point to, oh, this is here. Have all of this data on this topic in this area, in this city in the United States. And that's when it becomes a problem. It starts to break our constitutional rights. So I do commend him for that. But some of the other people I don't commend, because I think they were trying to ride the coattails of Snowden. Snowden found something that was really, really messed up, and he had a problem with it. There, you can think what you want, but there are no avenues for a whistleblower to put this information out there. There are none. They will tell you that there are like 2 or 3, but all of these avenues that they're telling you exist, they get you nowhere. In fact, they get you in more trouble. That's why he went to Julian Assange. You know what I'm talking about. So that's why he went to him, because you know Julian was really good at what he did and keeping his clients safe, and that's why Snowden trusted him. But and he had to go to Russia to do that, you know, and not that that's that big of a deal, but you've got to understand that, like, the age we live in today, nothing is sacred. Not when it comes to technology. Not when it comes to a smartphone or a computer. Not unless you're really persistent and really good at hiding yourself. Like, I have things that I do that would never come back to me. I've been doing it for well over a decade. It would never come back to me. But then my normal stuff, and you have people that are on different sides of the coin. So they'll say, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't worry about it. It has nothing to do with doing anything wrong, I might be talking about personal things with my wife or my children or my family, and I don't want everybody knowing that information, and you shouldn't have access to that information. Just because you are this corporation and you have the ability to do it, and I don't know if you guys know this, but most excuse me, the whole Silicon Valley thing, all of the tech startups, they would all get what was called the letter from the FBI. And the letter had no one's signature on it. But they were just saying, you have to give us access to everything you have. And so this letter went out to places like MySpace, it went to Facebook, because Facebook was the most idiotic thing. The FBI was like, we've been trying to, get a census on everyone in this country, and we couldn't do it for 30 years. And all of a sudden, Facebook comes out and everybody's just willy-nilly volunteering all of their information out there, even showing where they're eating that day, doing reviews. All of this is public records. And my thoughts were just, you're stupid if you do that way. Yeah, I have a Facebook account. None of it traces back to me at all. The most you could say is somebody stole photos of me from another site and created a Facebook account, because none of it comes back to me at all. In fact, my account comes out of Russia. But But that's the whole thing, you know. When you're in that world, and I haven't been in his world, I've never been that deep. But, you know, I've been to, you know, the things that I've done. And I can't say what I would do in a situation, but when you think about what was that jail, the Guantanamo Bay, you know, with the things that they were doing to people, you know, I'm glad that got exposed because that was truly messed up, you know. And I know the other side is even worse, but we're supposed to stand for much more than that. We're supposed to be better than that. So, you know, when it came to the torture techniques and the pictures taking with men in these emasculating positions as workers of the prison, you know, that just shouldn't have been done. But that's more of a moral thing than a law, you know. Not a law, but you know, a law. That's more of a moral thing. So, you know, the morality was gone, you know, and I've been in situations where morality is so low that you've got to do something to bring it up, but I would not use someone else's pain to raise my morality. I would never use someone else's, even if it was my sworn enemy, their embarrassment, their pain, torture to, you know, elevate my or my team's morality or morale. I would never do that. And I think that's a question that you've just got to ask yourself. But he knows much better than me, so I'm gonna quit yapping and we'll get back to him.
And one of the personal freedoms that we give up is the freedom of knowing what we want to know. You get to know what the government tells you. You get to know what you need to know or what you've learned yourself, but you don't get to know secrets.
How difficult is it to maintain secrecy?
It's surprisingly difficult as technology changes. It's also surprisingly difficult as our culture becomes one where people want notoriety. People want to be the person who breaks the secret. 25 years ago, 40 years ago, that wasn't the case. There was a time in the United States where if someone gave you a secret, it was a point of personal honor not to share the secret. Now we're in a place where if someone tells you a secret, like that could turn into a Twitter post that gets you a bunch of thumbs up and a bunch of likes or whatever else.
An opportunity.
Right. So the value of secrets has changed. There's almost a greater value on exposing secrets than there is on keeping secrets. That makes it difficult to keep secrets, especially when technology is going in the same direction.
How much truth is there? It's kind of a funny question. How suspicious should I be when I'm traveling in Ukraine or different parts of the world when an attractive female walks up to me and shows any kind of attention? Is that like this kind of James Bond spy movie stuff, or is that kind of stuff used by intelligence agencies?
It's called sexpionage. The art of attraction, appeal, the manifestation of feelings through sexual manipulation, all of that is super powerful tool. The Chinese use it extremely well. The Russians use it extremely well. In the United States, we actively train our officers not to use it. In the end, it leads to complications in how you professionally run a case. So we train our officers not to use it. However, you can't control what other people think. If you're an attractive male or an attractive female officer and you're trying to talk to an older general who just happens to be gay or happens to be straight and is attracted to you, of course they're going to be that much more willing to talk to an American who is also attractive.
You've been asked, I think, on Reddit, are there big secrets that you know that could land you and our country in terrible trouble if it came out to the public? And you answered, yes, I wish I could forget them. So let me ask you just about secrecy in general. Are these secrets or just other secrets ones that the public will never know, or will it come out in 10, 20, 50 years?
In essence, anything that I've seen has the first chance of becoming public domain, declassified, after 50 years, unless there's some congressional requirement for it to be reviewed and assessed earlier. So by then, I'll be 80 something years old or potentially dead, which is either way. That's when it can come out according to its typical classification. Secrets create space. Secrets give opportunity for security. They give opportunity for thinking. They give space. And space is an incredibly advantageous thing to have. If you know something somebody else doesn't know, even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes different, you can change the course of fate. So I find secrets to be extremely valuable, extremely useful.
CIA spy on how to deceive people.
But I would also say that to your exact point, you are right that people smell bullshit. People smell bullshit. But here's the thing. If you come in smelling like goat shit, you still smell like shit, but you don't smell like bullshit. So they don't count you out right away. And if you come in smelling like rotten tomatoes, or if you come in smelling like lavender, or if you come in smelling like vanilla, or if you come in without any smell at all that matters is that you don't smell like bullshit. Here's the thing that's one of the secret sauces of CIA. When you look and act like a spy, people think you're a spy. If you look and act in any other way, you know what they never ever think you are? A spy. They might think you're an idiot. They might think you're trailer trash. They might think that you're a migrant worker, but they never think you're a spy. Yeah. And that lesson in everyday life is immensely powerful. If you're trying to take your boss's job, as long as you don't ever look like the employee who's trying to take the boss's job, the boss is focused on all the employees who are trying to take his job. Everybody's prioritizing whether they know it or not. The goal is to just not be the one that they're targeting. Target them without them knowing you're targeting them.
So people just, when they meet you, they put you in a bin. And if you want to avoid being put in a particular bin, just don't act like the person that will be, just show some kind of characteristics that bin you in some other way.
Exactly right. You have to be in a bin. Just choose the bin.
CIA spy on how to hide your identity.
I discovered I had messy hair in CIA because I used to go Muj. We called it Muj. I used to go Mujahideen style, big burly beard and crazy wacky hair.
Yeah.
Because an ambiguously brown guy with a big beard and long hair can go anywhere in the world without anyone even noticing him. They either think that he's a janitor or they think that he's like some forgotten part of history, but nobody ever thinks that that guy is a spy. So it was for me, it was one of my favorite disguises. It's what's known as a level 2 disguise. One of my favorite disguises to don was just dilapidated brown guy.
Can you actually, we'll just take a million tangents. What's a level 2 disguise? What are the different levels of disguise? What are the disguises?
Yeah, there's 3 levels of disguise by and large. Level 1 is what we also call light disguise. So that's essentially, you put on sunglasses and a ball cap and that's a disguise. You look different than you normally look. Mm-hmm. So it's just different enough that someone who's never seen you before, someone who literally has to see you just from a picture on the internet, they may not recognize you. That's why you see celebrities walk around with ball caps and oversized jackets and baseball hats, because they just need to not look like they look in the tabloid or not look like they look in TV. That's level 1. Let me jump from level 1 to level 3. Level 3 is all of your prosthetics, all the stuff you see in Mission Impossible, your fake ears, your fake faces, your fat suits, your stilts inside your feet, all that's level 3. Whenever they make any kind of prosthetic disguise, that's a level 3 disguise, because prosthetics are very damning if you are caught with a prosthetic. If you're caught wearing a baseball hat and sunglasses, nobody's going to say you're a spy. But when you're caught with a custom-made, nose prosthetic that changes the way your face looks, or when someone pops out a fake jaw and they see that your top teeth don't look like they did in this prosthetic, then all of a sudden you got some very difficult questions to ask or to answer. So level 3 is extremely dangerous. Level 1 is not dangerous. Level 2 is long-term disguise. Level 2 is all the things that you can do to permanently change the way you look for a long period of time, so that whether you're aggressed in the street or whether someone breaks into your hotel room or whatever, it's real. So maybe that's, maybe you get a tattoo. Maybe you cut your hair short. Maybe you grow your hair long. Maybe you go bald. Maybe you start wearing glasses. Well, glasses are technically a prosthetic, but if you have teeth pulled, if you gain 20 pounds, really gain 20 pounds or lose 15 pounds, whatever you might do, all of that's considered level 2. It's designed for a long-term mission so that people believe you are who you say you are in that disguise.
I'm gonna go ahead and play this last one, and I just want you guys to understand this. Understand what he's saying from his experience, which is a pretty vast background. Just understand what he's saying. Truly take it to heart.
The reason we are the world's superpower, the reason we are the top economic engine in the world,
right,
is because we have created this massive
class,
class of cogs.
Yeah.
Right? Cogs that are dissatisfied, angry, frustrated, they bitch about it when they go home, they struggle for 35 years and they complain, but they still do it.
You know what's funny though?
You go to any other foreign country out there and what you'll find is that the lack of cog-based education becomes a massive drain on their economy.
Right. And they would They would die to be in that position in the United States. What's funny is it's so funny because it's just circumstantial, because the same people that are middle class today, or even lower middle class, 100 years ago, like the Rockefellers, these people are all living better than them. They say, oh no, they don't have as much money. Doesn't matter. They have dental care. They're not. They have medical. They're going to live twice as long. I forget which. Like one of the Rockefellers lost like 3 kids. I don't know if it was a Rockefeller, but it was one of these guys that like he lost like 3 kids and his wife, like to diseases that now you go to the doctor and they'd be like, here, take these pills for 10 days. You're good. What are you talking about?
And they won't, because we'll only take our pills for 7 days and then we'll feel better because we know more than the doctor, right? It's insane, because you're exactly right? Dental technology of the 1950s, dental technology of the 1920s pales in comparison to what we get right now on your employer's health insurance plan.
Yeah. Well, and YouTube, entertainment, like across the board, your life is so substantially better. But people, it's because it's so available and cheap that they don't appreciate it.
Yeah, they don't understand it.
You go to prison for 10 years, get out and be like, I'm walking around with my cell phone like, oh my God, this is amazing.
There are boobs right here.
I could watch anything. And I could find anything.
That's the availability heuristic, man. That's exactly what you're talking about. When you're surrounded and inundated by cheap entertainment and boxed wine and anything that you could possibly want, it's all available to you. Right. So then you think it's something that it's not. You take it for granted. Yeah. You assume it's either less important or more important than it really is. Like that's all part of that cognitive bias that.
I'll go ahead and interrupt and say this. I am a big proponent of freedom of information. I think information should be free. Certain information. I don't think national secrets and things like that should be, freely available. But I do, because it's no one's business, what certain people are doing to protect the country. Now, when it infringes upon your constitutional rights, then yeah, that needs to be known. But I'm a big proponent of information should be free. The thing is, information is power. Information is money. Information, like something as simple as, data. You're talking about these email lists. Like take scammers, for instance. Scammers, especially the ones in India and Africa, they pay a lot of money for these call lists for the UK and the US, for people that are in their late 50s to 80, and they know they have a retirement or they've done something. So their information, their name, their email, all of this. And I used to have a little fun with scammers. I've got a voice changer, and I would change my voice and have some fun with them. But I've seen many guys on YouTube do way better things than I've done, because I didn't invest that much time into it. I just thought it was fun to do. But you've got these people that they will pay, like these lists that they have of like the age, the job or the title that they did, and what they might have in their bank accounts, of elderly people who might not be that good with technology. That's their gold mine. And it disgusts me. It completely disgusts me. So I would always help them whenever I could. But I would also have fun with scammers. But now you've got all these groups, full of guys, like Scam Beta and all these people. Excuse me. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad that they're doing it. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. But yeah, I believe that information should be free. We should not have to pay to find out the truth. But the more you go down that rabbit hole, the more you realize that the truth is so much more hidden than ever believed. And I'm coming from someone that's had a top secret clearance. but I was also compartmentalized with many other people that were compartmentalized. So we worked in the same area. We might have sat in the same cubicle next to each other. I've done that a lot. They know my title, I know their title, but we have no idea what projects the other is working on. Not allowed to talk about it. That's the compartmentalization. So when you're able to, get massive groups like that and compartmentalize them, then you have nothing to worry about. But I still think it should be free to people as long as it does not interfere with your constitutional rights. That's where I stand.
That distorts your point of view.
Well, I have guys with YouTube, since this is something we have in common, with the YouTube thing. It's funny. I'll meet these guys that are like, "Oh, you're doing a YouTube channel? Oh, and I'm like, yeah." And they're like, "What else do you do?" I'm like, no, it's like paying like all my bills. Like, it's great. It's actually working. Like, it's working. And they're like, "Oh, well, that must be nice." I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, but I didn't put up a video, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I had a plan.
Yep.
I had a long-term plan.
And you grind.
And the first videos I was putting out for the first 6 months, every video was called The Grind. It was like The Grind and then the title, like Grind 1. We got video, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I did it for 6 months, and every week I was putting something out. And it was like, it doesn't matter what I put out. To put out something, it has to be longer than, I had a strategy. It has to be like 15 minutes or longer. So it's 15 to 30 minutes every week, and it doesn't matter what I do. I have to put it out. Why? Because YouTube is, the algorithm wants consistency.
Yeah.
So I was putting them out constantly. I was coming up with a decent thumbnail. I watched 10 videos on what a thumbnail looks like. I had this long-term strategy, and it's like, well, how did you know it was going to work? I didn't know it was going to work, but it doesn't take that long. And I didn't have anything else going on in my life. And
because I'm an ex-con.
Right. Like, it's
either this or McDonald's.
Right, if it
I'm going to take my chances on this.
I'm not in any worse position. Like, this takes an extra 5 hours, and I was editing the videos myself. It's like, and I got to that point, and I remember even saying, I can do this for so long, and then I am going to have to get to a point where I'll be out of material, and I have to start interviewing people, other criminals. But at that point, I want to have like a 3-camera setup, right? Mm-hmm. So I had people by this point, people are reaching out to you. Mm-hmm. What can I do to help you? I like you. And I'm going on other podcasts because I knew if I go on other podcasts, I'll get more subscribers. I kind of conscript. I always think I'm conscripting their subscribers. And everybody's like, "Oh, well, you have a story." Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you have a story because everybody's got a story. There are other podcasts, entire platforms that are based on the fact that they're starting a podcast or that they're starting a small business and they need content. There are entire websites that are dedicated that you can put up a 5-minute video about, here's who I am. And it could be as simple as, I worked at McDonald's for 6 years. I don't like where my life is going. I don't want to go to college for 4 years. It's not what I want to do. I dropped out of high school. I talked to my mom. I don't know. You just tell a silly story that you think this is nothing. Yeah. And
listen to what he's saying. He's talking about, I don't want to go to college. They're teaching us stupid stuff. That goes back to the whole, Rockefeller's 1920s saying, I need a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. And they say, what shall we teach them? Teach them everything about nothing. Everything about nothing. Keep them preoccupied. Keep them preoccupied with student loans, grants, and making them think that they're making a change in the world. And some of them actually do. But that's their whole plan. You got one hand over here doing this, but you don't see that. You see this hand over here doing this. That's their whole plan. That's a big part of their plan. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to say that. Not only have I seen that personally, I've experienced it personally.
And this is what I'm doing, and I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, and I've got 300 subscribers, and half of those are my relatives and friends. And I really need people to subscribe. And here's what I talk about on my podcast. I'd like to come on your podcast and talk about being a podcaster. Yeah. And if you put that out there, believe it or not, you'd probably get 4 or 5 different interviews from other YouTubers about your channel and it would grow. And people don't realize that. You just have to be consistent, and it grows and it grows and it grows.
Yeah, what's really funny is, in human intelligence, what we call human in CIA speak, right? There's different types of intelligence. There's signals intelligence and measurements intelligence and imagery analysis and all sorts of different intelligence. But human intelligence, where you're actually collecting secrets from human beings, we call that human. And there's this concept in human where we say everybody's worth a cup of coffee. That's the same thing as you got to kiss a lot of frogs in business, right? So what we are taught and how we operate in the field is that we have to essentially reflect the thing that we're trying to attract. So we're trying to attract spies.
Right.
So we have to behave in ways that attract spies. That's the same thing you're talking about right now, right? If you want to launch a podcast, you can create a podcast about launching a podcast. And then what's that going to attract? It's going to attract a bunch of people who have thought about or are thinking about or are in the process of launching a podcast, right? So now all of a sudden you got all these people it's a built-in audience. Now, does that mean all of those people are going to be super useful for you? No. But who will be the people that become your future source of guests? Who will become your first round of guests? Who are going to be the people who will follow you for years just because they found you when you were small? That all comes from that first audience, right? It's everybody's worth a cup of coffee. You got to kiss a lot of frogs. And what fascinates me is that so many people are conditioned to think that they're supposed to be generalists. You're supposed to be good at everything, right? You go to public school, you go to private school. You have how many classes? There's like 11 classes that you have to take a year. You take sociology and you take social studies and you take math and you take science and you take chemistry and you take algebra and you take gym and you take art. You're not good at any of them. Like, you're getting exposure to all of them.
Right.
Specifically to make sure that you're not really good at any one of them. And if you want to get good at one of them, then you're supposed to go to college. And then when you go to college and you want to pick your major, you still have to take a bunch of core courses before you even qualify to start focusing on your major. Why? Because college is a business, and college has learned that why would they let you take 6 classes and make you a master of fine arts when they can force you to take 24 classes to pull out $85,000 from you, and you still get the 6 classes that you were looking for. People don't realize that if you can just...
So, here's the good stuff. So, we're going to start here, and we're going to end up somewhere else. But stick with me. I've been digging up on this just for you guys, and I'm going to show it, share it, and I hope you love it. Let me know in the comments if you do or not. If you want to see something else, if you want to see something more, I can make it happen. Just let me know. Communicate with me. Communication is key. We're all adults. Positive vibes only. Going through this together. Nobody is going through this alone. We're all waking up now, but we need to wake up truthfully, which means we've got to sift through all of the BS and understand what waking up means. I'm not talking about a woke movement. I'm talking about actually waking the fuck up, understanding what's going on in the world around you and world within you, understanding all of that, understand all of it. So let's see what we've got.
The moment you've all been waiting for. They're out. Epstein's list. And although just kind of like I thought, it's not going to expose everybody, and it is a lot to go through. It is a lot to have to go through because it is a lot of legal documents, but it's finally out. I myself personally have not gone through all of the documentation yet. I just want to let you guys know it is available to the public. It is out. Prince Andrew is on it, and of course so is Bill Clinton, but we kind of already knew that would happen. And although, like I said, I haven't gone through the entire list yet, I have this feeling it's going to be kind of a letdown. I don't think we're getting the entire story here or all of the names, but I just want to let you guys know it is officially out in the public, and there are multiple ways you can find these lists online. But there is a place here on TikTok. A creator has all of the documents on her page. This is their page, and you just go under their link tree. And then this one right here. I called everyone in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. Apparently a mother of one of the victims went through and called all of the names that she could find. According to this creator, between this, and this, you're going to have a pretty great idea as to who it was that's on his list. So there you have it. The names on the list everybody has been dying to see.
Let me preface this by saying this is the person who has all of the details. I will put her link tree in. Her name is Under the Desk News on TikTok. So we're going to dive into this, and I'm going to show you some of the documents that she's provided.
It's Thursday night, the Golden Bachelor is officially married, and they've dropped more Epstein documents. Now, part of the reason that the judge in New York has decided to release the documents is because much of the information is already known. But that's not stopping social media from making up stuff about what's in the documents. So let's talk a little bit about some of the names that we can clarify who they were and what they were doing. A big bit of misinformation right now is alleging that Stephen Hawking participated in an orgy on Epstein's island. And the Associated Press fact-checked that and found that Hawking's name actually only shows up in a 2015 email from Jeffrey Epstein that was challenging people to prove that Hawking had been in.
Wait, how? How? Tell me logically how Hawking could participate in that kind of debauchery, paraplegic. How could he participate in that? I mean,
been in an orgy on his island. I think we can fairly safely say that Stephen Hawking did not participate in an orgy on the island. Bill Richardson, the former governor of New Mexico, who has since passed away, denied allegations made by Virginia Giuffre that she was asked to sleep with him, saying those accusations are false and he never met with Giuffre. Jeffrey Epstein did keep a house in New Mexico. Bill Richardson was the governor of New Mexico. I don't know. And then these names came up. These are employees of Epstein's who actually gave testimony. So again, not accused of anything. And Michael Jackson's name comes up because one of Epstein's victims was asked, did you ever meet anybody famous? And she was like, yeah, I met Michael Jackson one time. She goes on to say that she did not perform any massages or sex acts for him and had no accusations against him. It feels very gross to me to have to defend people who are in the documents. And so I probably am not going to do that again. I'll just tell you what I learn about and that'll be it. And we'll talk about Bill Clinton in the morning because that one took me a long time to put together. This is the timeline of how journalists took down Jeffrey Epstein, part 2. In 2003, a journalist at Vanity Fair named Vicky Ward came forward claiming to have a story of 2 sisters who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein at his Palm Beach, Florida mansion. That story gets killed, and in 2005, another 14-year-old girl comes forward saying that she was abused at the Florida mansion. So in May of 2006, Epstein is finally charged with multiple counts of unlawful sex with a minor. But in July of 2006, Epstein is actually arrested for a much lesser charge of 1 count of soliciting prostitution. Now, this is a huge red flag. Why are they reducing the charges so much? So in 2007, federal cops under George Bush Jr. start an indictment to try and get Epstein on bigger charges. But for over a year, the money manager's lawyers engage in talks with the U.S. Attorney General in Miami, Alexander Acosta, remember that name, about a plea bargain that would allow Epstein to avoid federal prosecution. Enter Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, who argues that these girls' claims can't be taken seriously and they're not credible witnesses. In June of 2008, Epstein pleads guilty to state charges, 1 count of soliciting prostitution and 1 count of soliciting prostitution from someone under the age of 18. He gets 18 months in jail, but get this, he doesn't actually go to jail. He just sleeps overnight there. He works out a deal with Alexander Acosta that he can go to his office and continue his work during the day as long as he checks back in and sleeps at the jail at night. We will later find out that the U.S. Attorney General, Michael McCasey, appointed by Bush Jr., agrees to not prosecute Epstein for federal crimes. In 2009, Epstein re-enters society, totally free of any kind of having to check in and sleep overnight at jail. For another 9 years, he will continue his reign of terror. But then, in November 2018, that's when Julie K. Brown, an investigative reporter at the Miami Herald, decides that she's going to look back into the Epstein case, not so much for Epstein, as to figure out why Alexander Acosta, who is now serving as Trump's Secretary of Labor, gave him such a sweetheart deal. Julie's report reignites interest in Epstein's case. A court in New York...
So, I will put the link to Underdesk News in my description of this video. But I've already downloaded the files, so we can look at both of them. So The main ones are the Epstein documents and then the person who says, I called everyone in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. So let's go through the court trials. This is let's get to the good parts. So, yet during her deposition, defendant refused to answer any questions that she construed as having something to do with consensual adult sex. Defense counsel supported that position, that frankly, that's none of your business, and I instruct the witness not to answer. See Declaration of Sigrid S. Macaulay Falcon at Exhibit 1 of TR. Of Maxwell Depot. The result was that a number of points throughout her deposition, defendant refused to answer questions about subjects integral to this lawsuit, including questions about what the alleged massage therapists were doing at Jeffrey Epstein's house and the sexual nature of those massages. For example, defendant refused to answer questions about whether she had given Jeffrey Epstein a massage. Question: have you ever given Jeffrey Epstein a massage, Mr. Pagliuca? Okay. Object to the form foundation, and I'm going to instruct you not to answer that question. I don't have any problem with you asking questions about the subject matter of the lawsuit is, which would be, as you've termed it, sexual trafficking of Mr. Roberts. To the extent you were asking for information relating to any consensual adult interaction between my client and Mr. Epstein, I'm going to instruct her not to answer because it's not part of this litigation and it is her private confidential information not subject to this deposition. Miss Macaulay, you can instruct her not to answer. That is your right. But I will bring her back for another deposition because it is part of the subject matter of this litigation, so she should be answering these questions. This is civil litigation deposition, and she should be responsible for answering these questions. Mr. Pagliuca, I disagree, and you understand the bounds that I put on it. Miss Macaulay, no, I don't. I will continue to ask my questions. You can continue to make your objections. Question: did you participate from the time period of 1992 to 2009? Did you ever participate in a massage with Jeffrey Epstein and another female? Mr. Pagliuca. Objection. Do not answer that question. Again, the extent you are asking for some sort of illegal activity, it's as you've construed in connection with this case. I don't have any problem with you asking that question to the extent these questions involve consensual acts between adults. Frankly, they're none of your business, and I will instruct the witness not to answer. Miss Macaulay, the case involves sexual trafficking, sexual abuse, questions about her having interactions with other females is relevant to this case. She needs to answer these questions. Mr. Pagliuca, I'm instructing her not to answer. Miss Macaulay, then we will be back here again. See Macaulay. to. Okay. Defendant's participation in massages with Epstein is a central part of this case. Miss Guffrey, I don't know, Guffrey, has explained that during her first sexual encounter with Jeffrey Epstein, it was defendant who provided instruction on how to do it and how to turn the massage into a sexual event. Obviously, proof of the defendant had previously massaged Epstein, including massages with sexual component, would provide important corroboration for Ms. Guffrey's testimony at trial, and proof that defendant was involved in massages will further help prove that statements to the press that Virginia's allegations were obvious lies was itself an obvious lie. As another example, defendant refused to answer questions about her knowledge that Johanna Schilberg was hired to work for Epstein and provided massages. In the police report, Johanna admitted that Maxwell recruited her to work for Epstein. Police report indicating that Johanna was recruited by Maxwell. Yet during defendant's deposition, she refused to answer questions regarding Johanna Schilberg. Do you know what tasks Johanna was hired to perform? She was tasked to answer telephones. Did you ever ask her to rub Jeffrey's feet? I believe that I read that, but I don't have any memory of it. Did you ever tell Johanna that she would get extra money if she provided Jeffrey massages? I was always happy to give career advice to people, and I think that becoming somebody in the healthcare profession, either exercise instructor or nutritionist or professional massage therapist, is an excellent job opportunity. Hourly wages are around $7, $8, $9 an hour, and what? That's really low. I don't know if you guys know this, but massage therapists make a lot more than that. Like regular massage therapists make a lot more than that. And this was in what, 2006 or so at the time of this, what they're speaking about? No, that wasn't that much back then. And as a professional healthcare provider, you can earn somewhere between, as we have established, $100 to $200 to be able to travel and have a job that pays. That is a wonderful job opportunity. So in the context of advising people of opportunities for work, it is possible that I would have said that she should explore that as an option. Question. Did you tell her that she would get extra money if she massaged Jeffrey? Answer. I'm just saying, I cannot recall the exact conversation. I give career advice, and I have done that. Question. Did you ever have Johanna massage you? Answer. I did. Question. How many times? Answer. I don't recall how many times. Question. Was there sex involved? Answer. No. ... Question. Did you ever have sexual contact with Johanna? Mr. Pagliuca, object to the form and foundation. You need to give me an opportunity to get you in between the questions. Anything that involves consensual sex on your part, I'm instructing you not to answer. Question. Did you ever have sexual contact with Johanna? Answer. Mr. Pagliuca, again, she is an adult. Question. I'm asking you, did you ever have sexual contact with Johanna? Answer. I've just been instructed not to answer. Question. On what basis? Answer. You have to ask my lawyer. See Macaulay Deal at Exhibit 4, Maxwell, April 22, 2016 at 60:62. Emphasis added. Here again, this information is critical to the case. Among other things, that these questions are designed to show a modus operandus, MO, for Epstein and Maxwell, specifically how they recruited for a non-sexual massage, then should be then converted the massage into sexual activity. One last illustration comes from defendant's refusal to answer about her knowledge of Epstein's sexual interest during massages. Does Jeffrey like to have his nipples pinched during sexual encounters? Hey, I'm not above a good nipple pinching, slight during sexual encounters, so you can't blame the guy if he is. Uh, Personal preference. But and they were consenting adults, I just I find that as a weird question. Okay, let me go back. Gotta be serious. Does Jeffrey like to have his nipples pinched during sexual encounters? Mr. Pagliuca, objection to the form and foundation. Answer: I'm not referring to any advice on my counsel. I'm not talking about any adult sexual things when I was with him. Question: when Jeffrey would have a massage, would he request that the masseuse pinch his nipples while he was having a massage? Answer: I'm not talking about anything with consensual adult situation. While Epstein himself might also provide answers to these questions, it appears likely that he will assert his Fifth Amendment privilege regarding his sexual activities. Accordingly, Miss Ufer must pursue questioning of Maxwell to obtain information on that subject. Here again, information about Epstein's sexual idiosyncrasies will provide important corroboration to Mr. Giuffre's testimony that she had sexual interactions of an identical nature with Epstein. These refusals are not an isolated instance. Instead, similar refusals to answer questions occurred repeatedly throughout the deposition. The court should compel defendant to answer all these questions. In addition to the specific points made above, the big picture here reveals how vital such discovery is. At the core of Miss Giuffre's allegations is the allegation that the defendant lured her into a sexual situation with offer of a job making money as a massage therapist that Epstein always habitually hired. To turn massages into sex. That is what his modus operandi and plan all along, and that Maxwell recruited other females for an ostensibly proper position, such as therapeutic massages. This knowledge that the intent was for that person to be pressured to provide sexual gratification to Epstein. Epstein's use of massages for sexual purposes is a central part of this case, and the defendant's role in those messages and knowledge of the purpose of those messages is a critical piece of evidence showing her state of mind, and attacked Miss Giuffre's assertions as entirely untrue. Miss Giuffre intends to provide all at trial, and defendant knew full well the sexual purpose for what she was recruiting females, including underage females like Miss Giuffre. Ms. Geoffrey is entitled to explore defendant's knowledge of the sexual females like Ms. Geoffrey. Of the sexual activities that took place under the guise of massages. Hey, we've all been there. Starts with a massage and then, just turns into something else. Not at a whorehouse or with whores or in general. Saying people have been there. Not we all, but it happens. But not with underage. Oh, funny. Knew full well the sexual purpose for which she was recruiting females, including underage females like Miss Geoffrey. Miss Geoffrey is entitled to explore the knowledge of the sexual activities that took place under the guise of massages. Otherwise, the defendant will be able to portray to the jury an accurate picture of what was happening at Epstein's house. Nothing more than run-of-the-mill massage therapy. Did the pay for the massage therapist vary on what sexual acts they perform? Answer: no, it varied depending on how much time. Some massage therapists charged more and some charged less. Defendant's refusal to answer the question about alleged adult consensual sex also blocks Ms. Geoffrey from seeking legitimate discovery in this case. By refusing to answer questions about her and Epstein's sexual activities with alleged adults, defendant is essentially given the ability to refuse to answer any sexual question she does not wish to answer. Defendant simply has to deem the question as involving consensual sex and no need be given. The result is to leave Miss Geoffrey with no way of exploring the identity of these sexual adults, the ages of those sexual, and indeed whether they were adults at all. This allows the defendant to claim that she is unaware of any sexual activity involving underage females because she claims only sexual activity that she was aware involved adults. The court should compel Miss Maxwell to answer all questions about her knowledge relating to the sexual activities with Epstein and other females while at Epstein's various homes. Under the federal rules, when a party refuses to answer a question during a deposition, the questioning party may subsequently move to compel disclosure of the testimony that it sought. The court must determine the propriety of the deponent's objection answering questions and can order the deponent to provide properly withheld answers during a deposition. Internal stations omit. Of course, the party objecting to discovery must carry the burden providing the validity of its objection, particularly in light of the broad and liberal construction afforded the federal discovery rules. For purposes of a deposition, the information sought need not be admissible at the trial if the discovery appears reasonably calculated to lead the discovery of admissible evidence. Defendant cannot carry her burden of showing that the questions asked are not reasonably calculated to lead the discovery of admissible evidence. This is a case in which sexual activities lie at the heart of the issues of the dispute. As a result, it is hardly surprising to find that discovery pertains to alleged adult sexual activities. Questions about such subjects are entirely proper. In defamation cases, the plaintiff is hereby ordered to answer questions regarding his sexual relationships so far. Wow. I just thought it was hilarious when they were so specific. Does he like to have his nipples pinched when he's getting a massage? I mean, I had a chiropractor for my back issues, when I was a Muay Thai fighter. You know, got my back nice and loose. My nipples definitely were not out or pinched or anything like that. I did go through electroshock therapy and all that stuff, but I just I think it's awesome that they specifically ask that. Does he like his nipples pinched? Is he a fan of nipple clamps while getting a massage or any other sexual gratifications? Well, who knows? But I can't read this without giggling, laughing, or any of this stuff. And it goes, look, Exhibit 4, Magna. Oh, I thought I was going to say Magna Carta for some reason. I've had a. Maxwell Confidential. Answer, I have. Question, no, you haven't. How's that a question? Answer, yes, I have. Question, you are refusing to answer the question. Answer, let's move on. Question, I'm in charge of the deposition. I say when we move on and when we don't. You are here to respond to my questions. If you are refusing to answer the question, or the court will bring you back for another deposition to answer these questions. Do you understand that? You don't need to threaten the witness. Miss McCauley, I'm not threatening her. I'm making sure the record is clear. Mr. Pagliuca, certainly you can apply to have someone come back, and the court may or may not have her come back again. Again, she is not answering questions that relate to adult consent. G. Maxwell, confidential. Sex acts, period. And that's the instruction, and we can take it up with the court. Question, Ms. Maxwell, are you aware of any sexual acts with measures and masseuses and Jeffrey Epstein that were non-consensual? No. Question, how do you know that? Answer, all the time that I have been in the house, I have never been heard nor witnessed nor have reported to me that any activities took place. That people were in distress, either reported to me by the staff or anyone else. I base my answer based on that. Are you familiar with a person by the name of any farmer? I am. Has any farmer given a statement to police about you performing sexual acts on her? I have not heard that. Has any farmer given a statement to police about Jeffrey Epstein performing well? Do you have sex with her? That's really a time like non-consensual. Was Emmy under the age of 18 when you hired her? No, I didn't hire her. As I said, Jeffrey did. Did Amy ever have sex with Jeffrey? Objection to the form and foundation. How would I know what somebody else did? You weren't involved in the sex between Jeffrey, Emmy, and yourself. We already were you involved with the sex between Jeffrey, Emmy, and yourself? Everyone is talking over each other. You heard the question. Again, you know what the instruction is, if there is any. Confident consensual issue involved. I instruct you not to answer. Moving on. So you're refusing to answer the question. I've been instructed by my lawyer. Did you ever have sex with Jeffrey, Emmy, Virginia, and yourself when Virginia was underage? Absolutely not. We've been going for about an hour. I would like to take a 5-minute break, please. I'm almost done. You're not going to allow a break. As soon as I get through with my lines of questioning, which is perfectly appropriate. Did Emmy Taylor travel with you and Jeffrey to Europe? I'm sure she did. What is she doing today? I have no idea. G. Maxwell, confidential. Question. Did you train Virginia on how to recruit other girls to perform sexual massages? Mr. Pagliuca. Objection to the form and foundation. No, and it's absurd, and her entire story is one giant tissue of lies and one giant tissue of lies, and furthermore, she herself has, if she says that, you have to ask her about what she did. Does Jeffrey like to have his nipples pinched during sexual encounters? They want to know about the nipples. Question the form and foundation. I'm not referring to any advice on my counsel. I'm not talking about any adult sexual things when I was with him. When Jeffrey would have a massage, would he request that the masseuse pinch his nipples while having a massage? I'm not talking about anything with consensual adult situation. What about with underage? I am not aware of anything. You are not aware of Jeffrey. In your responsibilities in working for Jeffrey, would you book massages for his on any given day so he would have a massage schedule? Would you take a call, for example, and book a massage for him? Objection to the form and foundation. Fuck. You can answer. Typically, that was not my responsibility. He would either book the massage himself or one of his other assistants would do that. From time to time, you had to do that. Objection to the form and foundation. Like I said, typically it was somebody else's responsibility. If you were unable to book a call for a massage on a given day, would that mean that Jeffrey didn't get his nipples pinched? No, it doesn't. It doesn't say that. I'm just caught. Oh my god. It's just hilarious that they're focusing so much on that, and I love it. Ah, fuck. If you were unable to book a girl for a massage on a given day, would that mean that you were responsible for giving him a sexual massage? Objection to the form and foundation, and I instruct you. Okay. I gotta stop. Oh shit. 1 in the morning. I gotta work. Alright. Oh my goodness. Man, they are focused. So I'm going to post this and I'm going to put the links. Like I said, Under the Desk News is the journalist on TikTok who put this information out there, and so I'm gonna put her link tree and give her credit, because this is all of her stuff. I didn't do any of this. I just, came across it, today. So, I know this is a bit, off course of our normal topics, but I'm gonna give you the information. It's a link tree. You can download the PDF. You can go to the site where it talks about, I called everyone in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book, and all these people, and you know, personally, and I'm sure this is a fair sentiment that most people agree with, but that's why and how he was unalived, because they were afraid of somebody with that much power and his own, excuse me, his own island with all of those uh situations set up. They did not want it getting out, and I'm still looking for the evidence. You know, you can see the flight log, but the flight log doesn't tell us anything. We need the flight passenger manifest is what we need. Plane. Every plane has that, you know? So every plane has that. That's what we need for like the last 30 years to know who has been out there. So I'm going to link all of this in the bio. I'm going to put this in my description so you guys can have at it. And please, please interact with me. Let me know what you think. I just got through cooking a 3-course dinner for the fam. Tired. I've got to be at work in, oh shit, 6.5 hours. So yeah, just go through it. It's hilarious, but it's finally out. So we will end it on that note. I appreciate every last one of you from my heart and soul. Remember to smash that like, subscribe, and notification bell. It's free. It does not cost you a thing. I can even pause it if you want. Pow, pow, pow. Just hit those. It doesn't cost you a thing, but you know what it does do? It gets this awareness out there. And I know this is a bit off topic from, you know, our normal type of informational episodes, but I just thought this was very important to put out there. There's a ton of comedy in it. I had no idea. I just thought it was important because of, we know what goes on with Hollywood. We know what goes eats with the music industry and all these people and the people behind it. So this was a main primary piece of contention personally. You know, I want to see it done away with. I absolutely do. I do not like seeing people exposed to things that they aren't aware of. And the only way to help them is to make them aware. You know, this might get me banned and shut down. I have no idea, but I'm putting it all out there. Not editing. Well, I'm not taking out anything I said because I don't say anything bad. I'm reading deposition court. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I've enjoyed I probably enjoyed this a bit too much, you know. I mean, man, I've never read through any deposition where they were just so focused on nipple pinching and clamping. You know, like they are so about that nipple pinching. Does he like his nipples pinched? Yay or nay? Who cares? Who wants to know? God. Anyways. Hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as I have. Hit me up in the comments. You know already that I respond, I interact with you guys, and shout outs to everybody who has requested specific type of content, who's interacted with me, and who has understood the message that we're trying to put out there. This goes back to the whole thing about freedom of privacy and information. We're going to put this out there, and I don't need any privacy or information. I just need like-minded people that are on the same path as me to. We're not alone in this. We're in this together. That's what I want to get across. We are in this together. There's tons of people out there more technically inclined, more literarily inclined that can speak to these things. I'm just trying to put it out there so that, if somebody at 15 or 15 years old is having issues, they can look at this content in our community and be like, you know what? They're on the right track. I want to join them because they're not making any absolutes. I don't work in absolutes at all. I'm not a Jesuit. Not working absolutes. It was big. But, we have to stick together when it comes to all of this. So, on that note, I've got to go to bed, got to be at work, and I hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed this as much as I. And I will definitely see you tomorrow. You guys have a great one. The 60s or 70s. I would.
EL, as his wife, you're continuing today to worship the place.
Oh, that.
I reckon this. Weapons was a mistake.
Say that inventing weapons wasn't exact.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another